I'm your for today, and I'm pleased to in this documentary, I will show you what is all about. Trust me, it will blow your
I know, that sounded really wrong. In fact, when I heard it in the editing room, I got so angry that I said to the editor, "You know what, screw this, I'm not going to do this freaking job anymore. I quit." Yeah, of course in the end I got my job back. But most importantly, what I really said was,
Hello everyone, I'm your host for today, and I'm pleased to meet you. In this documentary, I will show you what censorship is all about. Trust me, it will blow your mind out.
Censorship in Singapore. When you flip open the newspaper this morning, or when you look through the thick shelves of books found in the library, or when you turn on the television, the last thing on your mind will probably be the fact that all this information has been carefully chosen, filtered and edited before they can reach you. That's right, censorship, like ants, can be found everywhere. In this documentary, we will find out more about what censorship is in Singapore and how Singaporeans think about this issue. However, before we begin, we think it's necessary to introduce Singapore a little. Singapore is a tiny island that grew from a sleepy fishing village into the bustling metropolitan city-state it is today. According to our history textbooks, all these can be attributed to one single man, Lee Kuan Yew, and his political party, of course, the People's Action Party, which has won every single election ever since independence in 1965. It is important to note that Singapore, just like ancient Greece, is a democracy. However, our government has often been criticized for being authoritarian. One thing is definitely true. One can equate democracy to freedom and authoritarianism to censorship. Censorship in Singapore often boils down to a few things. The freedom of the media, sedition and libel law, freedom of speech in Singapore, and finally, the social taboo of discussing racial and religious matters. Speaking of political censorship, a filmmaker whose political film was banned by the government agreed to speak to us.
What exactly is your job?
I wear two hats. Professionally, I'm actually a video editor. I do editing for TV shows primarily. At the same time, I also do editing for movies. Some of the directors which I've worked with are like Jack Neo and various TV directors and producers in the field. But at the same time, I wear another hat as a filmmaker. As a filmmaker, I make documentaries about political subjects and issues in Singapore because I feel that in general in Singapore we don't talk enough about our own political issues, and there's a general apathy about politics in general. So I feel that it's my duty as a filmmaker and as a citizen journalist to document lesser known aspects of political life in Singapore. My film primarily sets out to raise awareness about certain political issues or certain political persons who are, I feel, not portrayed fairly or not given enough coverage in the mainstream to give some energy to political discourse in Singapore.
So, did the government ask you to take out certain parts, or does it just categorically ban the film altogether?
Yes, good question. The government did not ask me or did not even tell me which sections of the film are offensive or are in violation of the act. They basically just banned the whole film. That, or I think so. I feel that it shouldn't have been banned, and the fact that after it was banned, it leaked onto on the internet, on YouTube and Google Video, and many people have seen it. And I've read some of the comments. There was no complaints to ask for videos to be taken down.
We have come to Raffles Place today, the microcosm of corporate Singapore. On my right here is my sidekick, Lucy Ping, and together we will find out how the average Singaporean thinks regarding the issue of censorship. Let's find out now.
Naturally, as this is my first time interviewing people on the streets, I was feeling a little timid. Meanwhile, Xingming got down to business right away. However, Singaporeans, being Asians, can be quite a conservative lot. They mostly don't like talking to strangers, especially on political issues. After quite a bit of persuasion, we managed to score a few interviews with some of them. The Singaporeans believe that race and religious issues are too sensitive to talk about.
You can still talk about religious matters as long as you don't cross the boundary like insulting others. I think you still have the freedom, but you should use your freedom at the right sense and use the right time.
In this day and age, do Singaporeans still believe that race and religious issues can be used to incite riots?
Yeah, I think it can, because religious matters, racial are always a sensitive matter, right? So in that sense, it can be used to incite violence, yeah, it's true.
How about media coverage in Singapore? Do Singaporeans think that it is fair and objective?
I think it's skewed towards the government. If you flip through the Straits Times or you watch the news, usually they tend to report everything that's in the government's favor. You know, like, TP has increased so much. And recently they say that the consumer price index has decreased, but actually we don't feel that the standard of living has decreased. Actually, everybody is feeling that what we are earning now can't cover our daily expenses. So everything is skewed towards the government.
Well, it could always be more neutral and more objective. I mean, the way that the media industry is set up probably means that there's quite some incentive to be, in favor of the government and in favor of the government's agenda.
Now moving on from laws altogether, what are your opinion on, say, media organizations in Singapore in general? Do you think their coverage is biased, objective, or?
Let's talk about TV. TV is totally owned by Temasek Holdings, MediaCorp. So that one is I would call it a total propaganda mouthpiece of the government. As for the mainstream press, the government would claim that they are not government-owned, which is true technically, but under the Newspaper and Printing Licenses Act, the government has the right to appoint directors of the board of Singapore Press Holdings. So the mainstream press, to me, by and large, when it comes to local, domestic political issues, are also, I would say 70% of it is propaganda mouthpiece as well. So the only independent news you get these days are from the internet.